Yo, what's good, guys? Welcome back to the Uncanceled podcast. This is episode 5. I'm Nate.
I'm Jesus.
It's Nana.
I'm Javi.
And today, we have a very special guest here with us, Jalyss, Lyann.
Hey guys, so yeah, I'm super excited to be here and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
All right, so to jump straight into it, I'm going to ask the first question, very simple. Just give us a little background of who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Yeah, so I was born in Bronx, New York, raised in Philadelphia. So, I did my undergrad at Westchester University of PA, where I studied media and culture with a minor in psychology. Ended up here at Q's doing my master's with broadcasting and digital journalism to really just grow to be the journalist that I want to be.
All right, that's fine.
Was this something you always had interest in as from a young age?
No, so I actually wanted to be an FBI agent, detective, wanted to be a Fed. That was actually what I grew up wanting to be. I actually went to Westchester originally as a criminal justice major. So I actually did up to my junior year studying criminal justice, and everything happened with COVID and stuff like that. I ended up moving to Orlando, getting into modeling, being in front of the camera, production, and yeah, I came back when Westchester opened back up in person, and I just lost all passion for criminal justice. That was really around the time that everything happened with George Floyd too. So it was just a lot of different emotions towards the system, and really just feel like, how can I kind of as one person better the system? So I think it was a perspective thing, honestly, just so many different emotions and anger towards that situation too, that kind of made me I don't want to be a part of this. So then I switched over to media my last year. I was supposed to graduate early, and I ended up taking my last year to stay, switched to media, and it was the best thing that I ever did.
That's valid. I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of crazy though, because you said you did 3 years criminal justice, and kind of out of nowhere, boom, you just switched. That must have been kind of a little bit scary for you,
It was, but I feel like I'm a risk taker. I think I don't have a problem being able to take a risk if I know that it's gonna kind of benefit me. I think that's the biggest thing with taking a risk though. You never know the outcome of that. You kind of just have to have that confidence and hope that when you take that risk, you got to be ready for it to be a good thing or a bad thing, right? And I feel like even if it turns out to be a situation where you fail, you kind of get to learn from that. So I think that is the biggest lesson that I was able to really take from that.
That's cool. That's cool. And you said you was from Philly. I'm not gonna lie. When you said Philly, Meek Mill kind of just came into my head in general. How's the culture in Philly compared?
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, that's what you thought.
Yo, why is Meek Mill in your head?
Whoa! Nah, not like that. Not like that. Nah, for me, you don't pay no rent to be in my head. But you know what I'm saying? How is it being in Philly in terms of culture, and everything in Philly?
Yeah, yeah, the culture is actually really dope. I feel especially now within the last 2 years, but really always, there's just a lot of artists that's been really pushed out of there, from the Philly Goats, Too Rare. There's just a lot of, Terror Acts there, Core. There's mad dope people, dope artists, Emotional Therapy. Shout out to Malo, Torture. Shout out to Leslie. Feel me? There's just so many people that have so many dope brands, and I don't know, it's different. It's so different when you are able to really be able to see these people kind of have their ideas in a city and kind of go global. So I think the culture is really dope. I've seen a lot of brands and artists really blow up over the last 2 years, because it's just been really pushed how our culture is over there.
That's fire. It seems like you got your city on your back. It's fire.
From when you said you grew up in the Bronx, right?
Yes.
So do you ever miss the Bronx?
I do. I feel like it's a little different, right? Because my mom and dad were raised there. So it was just a situation where, I grew up there. I wasn't there too long. So I feel like I can't even say how much I miss it. I think the culture from New York and Philly is obviously different. I think you guys can account for that. Just our lingo and how we talk is just completely different. So it is something that I miss, especially when I run into people that are from the Bronx. I'm able to really be oh yeah, you're from the city. I can tell just by the way y'all talk and how you act. So it's just that dynamic that I didn't get that, right? I don't feel like I talk like I'm a girl from the Bronx, or kind of have that that kind of demeanor. I feel like when you see a girl, you could tell they're from Brooklyn or from the Bronx or from New York or they're from Philly just by the way they act. So I feel like that was something that I didn't get because I didn't stay in the Bronx too long. But it is something that, when I do go and visit my family and stuff, I'm like, damn, like I really would have grew up here. I wonder like how I would have been,
So I got a question because of our past episode. We talk a lot about women and stuff like that, and it's just been very like there've been a lot of men in our podcast. So I want to say
Everyone's been a man.
yeah. So you are first female guest. So I want to see what are some challenges that women are facing in 2024.
I honestly feel like women face a lot of challenges. I feel like the one thing I think I can speak on is that being a woman and kind of feeling like we can't do what men can do, right? I think that's like a big challenge that women face, where it's like whether we're going into like a male dominated field, and a lot of people have seen a lot of men in that industry, whether it's like them covering sports or just that dynamic of like we can't do a man's job, right? So I think for me the biggest challenge is seeing a lot of women being put in a position that a lot of men were in, as far as careers and industry. I think another thing is really I'm trying to think of like the right word for it, but I don't know. I think women just have a lot of more expectations, yeah, like just as far as when it comes to our morals or things that we can do, like there's just that double standard that like men can kind of do a lot of things, and once we do it, it's like, oh, she's this or she's that, right? So it's like we can't do what men do, because then it becomes a conversation that, well, we can do it because like it's different, but how is it different, right? So I think that's also something that we face, where it's like we have to kind of tread on a really thin line when it comes to that expectation part that you pointed out.
So like, we have a female audience as well. Like, do you have like any advice on like when they go into like a male dominated field?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is to really just own who you are, right? Really be confident and just know that you belong in that space. I think that's one thing how I was able to be very successful and understand, especially in the broadcasting field. For me, it's always been a male dominated field, right? You've seen a lot of men in newsrooms, you've seen a lot of men reporters. I think now over the past couple of years, you're seeing a lot of women now on national TVs reporting sports, just a lot more diversity in a newsroom. I think the biggest thing is knowing that if you are that woman in a male-dominated industry, to just own that, right? Be that representation for women that you don't see, so that when other people are looking up at you or want to be where you are that representation for everyone else coming after you.
I kind of want to say something. Is there like any like woman in like particular you kind of like look up to?
I get that question a lot, and I'm going to be completely honest. No, I've never had a role model. So I'm a first generation, right? So I think for me, it's like I've never had someone be able to really show me a lot of things. I feel like I've always been in a position where I've had to figure it out. However, have I grown to have mentors and people that really have guided me and supported me? Yeah, but I feel like I've never been able to cross someone, or even someone that's in, the industry that I want to go to, that I'm like, no, like I want to be like this person, or they really inspire me. I think it's a situation where that's why when people ask me that question, I'm always like, I've always been my own inspiration. I've always been my own role model, right? I think I look at it in a light of like, I want to only outwork me. And even though there are people that, I could look at and be like, wow, like they're doing amazing things, and, I want to be where they are. I think that's when I kind of come into like a comparison situation, right? So I try not to do that, honestly. So I always answer it in a way of like, I'm my own role model.
And I like agree with that, but I also have a question. Do you think that looking up to other people, like for yourself, do you think that limits your potential?
So I think it's a perspective thing, right? I think you can look at somebody and be inspired by what they want to do, and you have to just be very like cautious and understanding to the fact that, when you look up to somebody and you can be inspired by them, you have to understand that you can't follow their journey and their footsteps, right? I think as people, we kind of like, how did they do this? Or, okay, they did it this way, so let me try and like
Make everything the same.
right? When it's like, it can't be like
You
that.
can't emulate someone 100%.
Exactly. So I think that's why it's always hard for me to look at somebody and be like, I want to be like this person, or I want to be in their position. Because it's like, you're not going to take the same footsteps and strides that they did to get to where they wanted to get to where they are. So there's nothing wrong with being inspired with someone. There's nothing wrong with looking at someone and being motivated at like for you to continue to chase that dream in the position that they're in. I think that's amazing to have people that you're looking at and being able to be motivated by them. But it's just that caution of like, okay, I can't look at them and admire them and idolize them too much to the point where like now I'm questioning my worth and my potential.
Do you think you face any challenges with that, like doing things for the first time? You probably did a lot of mistakes.
Right.
Has there been like a chance where you lost an opportunity because you just didn't know, you didn't have somebody to look up to?
Yeah, so for sure, there's been a lot of challenges and a lot of mistakes that I've done. I think that I've experienced. I think for me, it's just like when I come across that, right? When I come across those challenges and those experiences where I'm in my head or I'm kind of just second guessing myself, that's when I miss an opportunity, right? Because I'm constantly questioning when an opportunity presents itself. Am I ready? Right. So I'm going to give an example of like recently there was an opportunity of me being able to be in a position for a job when I'm done after school. Right. And I might sit back and be like, wow, this is a really big opportunity. Am I ready? Right. Am I ready? But it's like, you hear this a lot. I feel like you're never gonna think that you're 100% ready for something. You just have to be ready. So for me, it's like I gave the example of like you're on a basketball team, right? You're maybe not the star player. You're sitting on the bench, right? You have the main 5 starters. One of them gets hurt. Your coach is gonna call you to get off of the bench and get in the game. So it's like you got to be ready. What are you gonna tell your coach? I'm not ready. I don't want to go on the court. Like you can't do that. Like you got to get on the court. So it's just like one of those situations where no matter what challenges, tribulations, how nervous you are, whatever you're going through, you got to be ready for that opportunity knocks on your door. You got to get up, you got to go, and you just got to again take that risk and hope that when that opportunity comes, you just do your part.
I mean, there's a saying. I mean,
Stay ready so you don't
Yeah,
gotta
Yeah,
get ready.
Like that's something that I hold so dear to my heart because especially in what I want to do when it comes to like hosting and moderating things, like all that stuff is just you get emails and requests and booked like out of the blue. Like, I had somebody call me that they have like a NBA event that they're doing next month, right? Hey, Jalyss, I want you to host this event. There's going to be a lot of billionaires in the room, corporate people in the room. And it's like I'm sitting there and it's like you be thinking, right? You be thinking like, wait, am I ready to stand in front of billionaires? I don't know, right? So it's like, but it's the fact that you have people that you don't even know watching you. They think you're ready. Like you gotta be, and it's not even that. It's just you just have to own your potential and know what you can and can't. Like not even what you can and can't do. You just gotta be ready. Like even if somebody believes in you, you can't. I wasn't gonna answer that phone and be like, I don't know if I'm ready. What? Like
Exactly.
they are calling you for it. You gotta
Yeah.
get off that phone and you gotta you want to deal with your emotions and all that after. That's cool, but it's just something that you have to understand your potential just as much as other people see it.
Yeah. And that's why I agree with the fact that if you get an opportunity, it's because somebody has seen something in you.
Mhm.
So that means if you question those who question themselves, am I ready? I believe those are the ones who are the most ready.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
that person wouldn't have called you for an NBA event if they didn't see something in you.
Exactly.
So
I think like self reflection is so like powerful nowadays because I think that happens to everybody, like all 5 of us. It's like when sometimes when we have an opportunity, you just believe that you're not ready for it because you think the opportunity is bigger than you.
Yeah.
When in reality, like you're bigger than the opportunity. That's why you're being part of it.
Exactly.
So I see what you're trying to say. I see what you're trying to say. It's like the brain works really weird, like because like you're ready, but you just don't believe you're ready. But you're actually ready. You see
And that's
what I'm
why I
trying
say
to
you just have to really believe in yourself. With situations like that, I think with anything, honestly, like where you have to start is knowing that you can do it, knowing your potential, owning it, having that confidence. And even when you feel like you're not ready, don't show that. Don't say it out loud. Like, have that conversation with yourself, but walk into that room and show everyone that you are meant to be there, that you belong there, that you received that opportunity because it was for you. And you hear that a lot, like, you know, what's meant for you, nobody can ever take that from you.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like like I have personal experience, but like I know like especially like in high school when I was like applying to like a lot of opportunities for extracurricular activities, you apply to so much and then you hear from some of them, and sometimes when you hear from them, like you got interviews and then you're like I have to prep for this interview and that interview, and you know when you kind of like walk into the room, all the attention is on you, so you have to like walk in there like ready, like you don't have to know exactly what you're saying, but you have to know yourself and know who you are and like what you're gonna tell them, so like they really can like understand you and see what you bring to the table. So I feel like just always being ready is like very important, and like trusting in your skills and everything you've done is like important. It can take you like far.
And also, opportunities don't come at a deadline. And what I mean by that is that it's not like you're gonna get an opportunity, and the opportunity can happen right now. We could be doing this video right now, and then some big person comes out of nowhere.
He's like, yo, I got a contract for you. Boom, don't play soccer with it.
That's why you don't just stay ready when the moment comes. You always stay ready whenever, because there's always something that's gonna come.
Exactly.
Yeah, to switch gears, I mean, you said about your, I mean, you growing up and stuff like that. What would you tell your younger self then? Since you have nobody to look up to. I mean, you already like, if you were young, I guess you could look up to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, what would you tell yourself? Like, if you could see little Jalyss in front of you right now, like, what would you tell her?
I honestly would tell her to just keep the hunger and the fierce energy that she has, to just keep that, hone on to that, and use it in every room. I think that's definitely something that, you know, when I look back, I kind of am always second guessing myself or my confidence. And then when I have other people around me, or even when I'm like back at home, I hear so much like, I'm proud of you, you're doing such a good job, like you're doing, you know, dope things. So I think those two things I would tell her, like, keep that hunger, keep that confidence, you know, keep that fierce energy, and keep walking into every room that, you know, that you're going to be in and enter, and know that, you know, again, what's meant for you is going to be for you, and you're going to be successful at that.
So I have another question. Is like regarding like your career. Like, what's like your plans like after college? Like, do you have like a goal like in mind? Like, what do you want to like do after?
So I guess I'll make the announcement here. I have
On the Uncanceled podcast.
Yo, this is opportunity right here.
I have not publicly said anything, just because I'm, you know, still this right time, right? But so I did get hired at Complex Networks. So it's a really
Complex?
Complex is crazy.
Yo, Complex, we need y'all over here.
So yeah, it's a really, you know, it's a great opportunity. That was actually the top company that I wanted to work for, because I want to go into like.
Let's have it up for it. Let's have it up for
Congrats.
That's huge. I mean, it's crazy how you say that shit right now, because like you just talking about your like how you grew up, your doubts, how sometimes where you get an opportunity you kind of like hide away from it.
Yeah.
And then you just pop that announcement. It's like whatever you just said in the last 20 minutes doesn't really.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You got it. Like.
And that's something. So like, thank you. So how that opportunity happened was referral, right? So obviously we know that our alumni network goes crazy. But yeah, so it was just on a referral basis, and it just worked out. You know, I sat through the interviews, went through the process. It was my top company to work at, and you know, I'm still in disbelief. I think that's why, like, I've just been thinking of like, when is the right time to publicly announce it, you know, post it on Instagram, and because I think for me, again, right, like, the job's not finished. Like, I still gotta get my degree. Like, I still gotta get my degree. So I think the timing of everything is kind of hard to celebrate that. You know, like, it's like I'm getting my requested salary because I'm getting a master's degree, right? So it's like I still have to finish the job. Like, I graduated in May, but we still have to do our summer class at the end of June. So
that's
it's really like a situation where it's hard for me to celebrate, knowing where it's like, okay, cool, where I still got to grind. I'm not done. And even with that big opportunity, it's a big opportunity. It's a top company I want to work for. And my mind's already on like, okay, cool, what's next, right? Like, I'm going to go into there and I'm going to be hungry. But, where I wanted to end up, right? Where my dream job is now the start. So it's a little different.
You're looking for more now. You're hungry.
It's like
I like
it's
that.
like I would have never thought that where I would have kind of figured I would have ended up is now a stepping stone for me. You know, it is a company that I want to grow with and kind of like, you know, stay with for years, but I would have never knew that would have been the first job I would have had, you know? And that just goes to show that you put in the work, you can go into where you want to go, like where you want to go after here. So I think for me, it's just really like, I put in the work, I put in the time, and now, you know, I'm just getting rewarded for that.
I mean, you say you're gonna celebrate, but I don't know 420 when this happened. I think you should.
Get a lot of
celebrate it.
celebration.
Yeah, you celebrate it.
And it's crazy because this all happened the day of the eclipse. So I think that's why too.
Wow.
It was just like, I think everything was just, you know, it was the eclipse and then
It's just crazy that.
yeah, the day, you know, it's like history.
All four of us thought that the war's gonna end, and for you, they kind of started.
Yeah.
That's crazy. No, that's wow.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
That's an amazing mindset to have because some people would be like, you know what, I got that job. I'm
done.
And
Yeah.
they'll be comfortable, like we talked about last episode.
Yep.
Comfort, like
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
There's there's levels to this.
There's levels, and that's what I'm saying, right? Like people that are hungry, it's like cool. I got my food on the plate, hot and ready, but okay, cool. I'm done. What's next, right? So it's like for me, it's like, what's next? I got there. I gotta keep going.
I'm gonna be the bad devil, I guess. I mean, the devil's bad, but
You always like being the devil. Every episode you want to be the devil, bro.
Because sometimes you just gotta spice shit up. You feel me? Nah, cause look, this is what I believe. I think you work hard. You know, I feel like you're preaching for the past 20 minutes about working hard. This job is not finished, but sometimes I feel like life deserves a pause. Deserves to like kind of see a perspective, see how well you're doing. My dad always says like the only time you look back, just look everything you've done so far. You feel me? So it's like. I feel like I'm not nobody to tell you this, but I feel like you should just sometimes take a pause and celebrate your losses and your wins, you know, because sometimes, bro, like next thing you know, 5 years from now, you're already at your job, you're settled, and you're like, oh, I wish I had that feeling again of starting this job. I mean, I'm not saying you should do it, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes like life is so beautiful, it goes so fast, especially when you're having fun, that you gotta just like pause and you'll be like, shit, I did it. Of course, there's more to come, but like. If that I did it, like feels so good, and then next day you wake your ass up and you're like, ah, shit, you gotta go back again. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest thing I actually like experience that is really hard for me, which is like being present, right? Yeah. I think I'm the type of person where I'm always on the go, or like I had an accomplishment, I might celebrate it for an hour for that day, and I'm like, okay, boom, it's the next day. So I think I never really take time to again take that pause and be still and be present. I think that was actually one of I feel like my regrets with undergrad and college, right? Like. Exclude COVID because I think COVID had a really big, you know, impact on that. But I feel like all I did was just work. That I didn't have a really traditional college experience. I really never went out. I never partied. I never really had fun, right? And I do believe that when you are in this space, take advantage of that, right? Like it's okay to do all your work and then go out and have fun, or go out and take that pause and celebrate yourself. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't do. It's kind of like, you know, they downplay their accomplishments, or they're just too humble, or it's like, okay, cool, I got this, and like, all right, I'm just not going to celebrate it. And like you said, being present and being able to feel those emotions and, you know, celebrate it with the people that you care about is extremely important. And that is something that I struggle with, that I'm aware of, that I'm like, okay, cool, like, you know, sometimes I do need to go and celebrate myself. Like, it's how far I've come, the accomplishments I've made, but also my failures too. Like, my failures are another reason why I'm here. My mistakes are another reason why I'm here. Like, I didn't do everything the right way. Like, nobody does.
For sure. I mean, yeah, I'm just worried because you said like you had no role models and nothing. I wasn't expecting the announcement. I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting it because you were talking about, oh, I haven't had nobody to look up to. So I thought you was like still trying to figure shit out. You feel me? And you popped that. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, I agree because like, when you think about it, most of the people we talk to always have somebody that they kind of.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it's not a bad thing. I'm just surprised. It's something different. I mean, that's the reason why you're here, because you bring something different to the table. So that, wow. I mean, congrats again. Let's clap it up for Jalyss one more time. Uncanceled popping out announcements now.
Yeah. Do you ever like want to be like? Do you want like a little girl or a little kid like like, damn, I want to be like Jalyss like one day? Like, do you want to be the inspiration? For, like,
So, you know what's crazy? There is actually people now, currently, like even before me getting like jobs, there's people that reach out to me on Instagram that email me. I set up Zooms with them. So, there's actually, I have like a link in my bio where people are able to request having a Zoom meeting with me and being able to talk to me. So my biggest thing is making sure I make time for those people. So there are people who come to me and be like, Jalyss, I see what you're doing. You know, you're doing amazing things. Can I get advice? There's actually this freshman that goes to LSU. She reached out to me like last month, 2 months ago, and she had a Zoom meeting with me. She's in the journalism program too. And she was just asking me for advice. So there are people who come to me and they're like, you know, really inspired by me. I go back to different high schools and talk to other, you know, younger, just the youth period. But, you know, there are people who come to me and be like, Jalyss, like, wow, you know, like I'm inspired by you, or, you know, I want to be like you. But I'm not going to lie to you. I always correct them, right? Because I never want somebody to look at me and tell me that they want to be like me, right? Because again, to go back to what I'm saying, it's like, I want you to hold on to you. I want you to look at me and be inspired by me and allow me to motivate you. But I never want it to be in a position where it's like, I want to be exactly like you, right? I want to do what you're doing.
be unique to
because
yourself.
I mean, that's
what
kinda
makes
creepy.
you so successful in an industry and a career and everything you do is that there's something different about you. Everyone has a different audience for a reason. So it's like, you know, I always correct them and be like, no, be like you, right? Like I say this all the time too. And I just recently seen this. Somebody said how they met Michael Jordan, right? And Michael Jordan and asked him for his autograph, and he replied and was like, "No, make me want your autograph." Right? So it's just stuff like that where it's like you hear that and you see people that you're inspired with, and
Create something for you.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so it's good to hear. It's amazing to hear, and it means that I'm doing something right. But I try and always like push it back into them and be like, no, like be you, do you. Like I'll support you. I'm here for you, but never want to be like someone else. Be you.
I mean, that's kind of creepy trying to be like the same person.
Yeah, I agree with that because you know Floyd Mayweather, right? In his prime growing up, he said that he looked at different fighters, the top fighters, and he said that he took a piece from each and every single one of them, but decided to make his own thing with it and look at who he is today.
Yeah.
He's Floyd Mayweather. He's nobody else.
Literally.
I mean, some of his
important.
wins were very controversial.
What's I'm saying?
That's
That's
just
important.
He's not really the GOAT.
He still knock you out though. He'll knock you out though.
Everybody would knock.
You're not knocking me out.
We're not gonna get into it, bro.
He's just no.
Mayweather's not a GOAT.
Wait, was it go Muhammad Ali? I never watched.
You didn't say Canelo.
No,
It's not even. Nah, Canelo's alright too, but I'm not. It's not.
Yeah,
He's
he's
not
not-
getting into that right now.
No, I mean that's very like inspiring. Like the fact like Floyd Mayweather does that. I even try to do that sometimes where like I try to pick up like the best out of people and put it myself. Or even like it's gonna be like kind of like a weird mix up, but like with religion too. Like I'm not really a Catholic or a Christian. Like I try my best to get like the best part of each religion and kind of make it on my own and kind of be like the best person every day. Cause like when you follow just one religion, it's just kind of like you kind of be seen like a follower. You feel me? Like I don't know. That sounds very stupid, but like. You know what I'm trying to say?
I don't get your point at all. I don't get your point at all.
You religion.
Nah.
Hobby religion.
Have relations.
Hobby religion.
Nah. Okay, I guess you just need it.
Nah,
Because
go ahead.
what I'm trying to say is like sometimes like when we just on one path, we are just too like we got blinders and we just go into that one path. We don't see what's around, and like we missed out on things that we could learn or we could not learn, stuff like that. And I think part of that like is because of you know like the system and everything like guide us to be just in one path. So.
Yeah, I feel like so. That's what I said. There's like that traditional path that everyone gets taught, right? So I'll give you the example. Like for me being in Newhouse and being in broadcasting, right now they don't believe in like entertainment journalism or music journalism as journalism. They kind of really frown down upon it. Or it's like that's not real journalism. Like if you tell someone you want to be a music journalist, they're gonna be like, what? So in Newhouse, there's just that traditional background of strictly news or sports. So obviously I'm taking those skills and I'm making my own path from that, which is why I ended up where I ended up in the job and the company I did, because, you know, I didn't end up following the crowd. Most of the crowd is sports, regular news, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you know what you want and you know the path that you want to go to, like you might have to take that traditional route and really just, really understand that, okay, this is just for the time being. Let me take the skills, let me take, what I'm learning in that traditional way, and then go and apply it to what I want to do. So, it's just that understanding of like, sometimes you really have to, deal with that. It's not, you don't have to take the traditional path that everyone else is taking, or, what people say is the right way, right? Like, there's a lot of people that I just listen to and they be like, no, don't do it this way or do it that way or whatever. Like, you do it your way or you're just going to figure it out.
I kind of want to drift off a little bit. We were talking about, like social media and like, how like you kind of went to school and studied like a whole bunch about like journalism and like media and stuff like that. How do you think like the media kind of like portrays like women? And I kind of want to add like an extra question from like the last podcast we were talking about it. What do you also think about like the word like female, like other people calling woman female? What do you think about that?
I don't think if you've seen it, but like that was one of the issues.
Because women get incredibly mad when we call them females. So,
yeah, I don't see a problem with
That's
that.
your problem?
Like,
You
I
see,
don't
that's
know.
no problem.
Jalyss has no problem.
I don't know if it's just like, different women that understand. It's just like maybe how they want to be labeled. So I think it's just a preference thing personally. I have never been around my other, female friends and somebody says female or whatever, and we kind of like, there's like a bunch of commotion behind it. Like, no. I mean, but again, I think it's a preference for everyone. I think maybe people just want to be labeled differently and just have that certain type of like respect level. So I really do think it's different off woman to woman, honestly. But to go back to your question as far as, how women are portrayed on media, that's such a hard question to answer, for the simple fact that it's like, it just depends, right? It depends on, as a woman, what you're putting out there, like how you're portraying yourself, or the content that you're producing. I feel like generally though, as the media in general, I do think that there are certain networks and certain media platforms that really can misconstrue information. And I think that's just what it is. Like with media, you never know if they're telling the truth, or, that's why it's really important that you see people say reportedly alleged, or they're very just putting out information and facts due to like other sources, that you hear a lot of women then come up and really just defend themselves because it's like, that wasn't true. Or so it's just really knowing that what you see on media is not real life.
It's not,
like
it's not.
It's just understanding that a lot of that stuff is just content. It's just for entertainment. Like, it's not real life. So for a lot of women to be discriminated on social media and just very like thrown under the bus, or their reputations get ruined off of that, it's because a lot of these media sources don't properly report what exactly is going on. One, because they don't really know, or they're just going based off of, the sources that they receive. So then it just backfires on like ruining that woman's reputation. So it's just a lot of understanding that media is for entertainment. Like, we go on social media, we go on TikTok to laugh, to see what's going on, to get updated. Like, that's all it is.
I mean, what are your takes? What are you guys' take? I kind of like, what do you guys
I agree. When you asked that question, the first thing that came into my head is what women bring out on the media, is what they portray. Because it's not, obviously there are other accounts, people that can post women and submit fake things, but also there are also women who are half naked on their pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And also, when you think about it, if you scroll on Instagram and you see a woman who has all her pictures and she's half naked, what are you going to assume about her?
I can't really say
It's going to make you assume things.
Yeah, like again, for me, I think like the media, it's not like reality, but again, like nowadays, I feel like media plays an important role in how like people do view you. So what you do put out is like very important, because just as like you were saying, let's say if I'm a guy and I'm posting pictures with guns and I'm putting drugs and I'm doing all of this stuff, what would you think I am? You probably think I'm a gangster. You know what I'm saying? So you might think I'm a drug dealer, I'm a gangster. It's still within the same realm. So I feel like what you put out is maybe what people might like perceive you as, at least like, like the first interaction they may have with you.
And one thing that I also didn't notice before is that, how we get like interviews for jobs and stuff. One thing I didn't know before is that some of these companies could look into your social media to see what you're bringing out. Like a girl, right? She was going to Temple University. for our scholarship.
Oh, I heard
and
about
she
that.
posted her prom pictures with her with the gun.
There's someone that do
And she had all her money taken away. She like the school withdrew her everything. And that goes back to what she said earlier. You have to stay ready.
I mean that's pretty obvious though. Yeah, like I mean if your account is public, I mean nobody will hold back to seeing what
some
you're
people
doing.
are just not aware of that though.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, especially with women, to even go back to like women showing a lot of their skin, right? It's so different because I feel like everyone too is like we just also make so many assumptions of people, right? That it's like it's so. I think that's why when I look at other people's pages or when I'm seeing somebody that follows me, I want to follow somebody. It's like that's where that fine line of like when women show a lot of their skin, it's like they're this, right? But then it comes back to a conversation of like, well, why can't I be confident and just post this? However, we live in a world where no one is going to think that. It's sad, right? And that's where, again, that's another challenge women come across where it's like, we can't post certain pictures and not be misconstrued for you to be labeled a certain way. It won't be looked at as confident. It won't be looked at as like, she's just beautiful and she just wants to show all of her skin. Like it's never going to be looked like that way.
I mean, I think you can show that in different ways though. Like
you can, but a lot of people, most people are going to be like, nah, like she's this. Just like you said, like that's just what it's gonna be. Like
they can show it in other ways, but they want to show it the way they want to show it.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's just how people are. Like it's just the world we live in. Like you're always gonna be labeled something.
Yeah, just to add with what Nate said though, like I also feel like they kind of like, I'm not gonna say woman. I think both genders, and there's more genders them too. But it's like they like they make excuses for what they post. Like for example, like if a female's gonna post half naked, right? And obviously her intention is probably like, oh, I'm confident and stuff. I mean, yeah, that's an excuse, but she in reality wants to like, show off, for she could get, people to follow her or, hit her up and stuff. Like sometimes they make excuses like, oh, I'm just doing that for empowerment. I love my body. And when in reality, like, the real intentions, like you're entertaining everybody over here. And it's like, are you really showing for empowerment or for?
But that's what I'm saying. That's why everyone's perception on it is different, right? And I say this off of the fact because I used to model. So I think even if we go into a conversation of like models who post or they model for Calvin Klein or they're, like
they get paid for that though.
Right, they do. But we can't lie on social media. You can get paid for posting on social media and things like that. Like what?
Monetize.
That's what I'm saying. Like you really can. You can like I actually get paid off of if I was to post reels. Like I can get paid off of posting reels. Like on my. That's what I'm saying. It's just like everyone's perception is different, and it's like you're right. A lot of women can make excuses for what they post, but so can men. But it's like that's why it's so hard because like I think even when I go on my social media. I just try so hard to not worry about what other people are posting and why they're posting it and why they're doing it or why they're doing it for a certain amount of income. Like, it's just kind of...
Just let it be.
You just let it be, right? It's like, I want to follow you, cool. Or you're doing this, cool. Like, so it's just such that fine line of, you post this, you're going to get labeled. Or if you don't, people won't care.
So how you feel about... I'm not gonna say women, but how you feel about people using their bodies for money? How do you feel about that?
Personally, I would never do that. So how I feel is,
I'm
not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I really don't judge. Get your money how you do, right? The economy we're in is like, listen,
crazy.
I don't want to say I get it, but I respect anybody who got to hustle. It don't matter what it is. Like you trying to make money to survive, you got kids to feed. Like you really got to do what you want you do. And it's like I could never judge because you never know somebody's reason behind it. When we go back to perception, like we're just gonna automatically think they're doing it for attention, or they're showing their body off, or they're doing this because they want to. Like no one really knows their reason why, So I think my biggest thing is like. It's so hard for me to give you a question because I always just be in a mindset of like I'm minding my business. And I think even on social media, like on my feed or who I follow, I'm very intentional with my followers. I'm very intentional with pages I follow and everything that, I see because our generation spends so much time scrolling and so much time on social media that I really try to make sure that whatever I'm consuming is worth consuming. But yeah, really to answer your question, I really just be minding my business. Get your money how you get it. I'm not judging like, listen, I know the world we're in right now.
So another question.
money
In like other episodes, we talked about like hookup culture, like, but we gave like male's perspective. Like, what's like a woman's perspective on like hookup culture?
Oh, wait, I want to know this.
So I think it's different, right? Women are very emotional. Like, I think women, it's hard. Like, it's hard for me to say this, right? So I'm just gonna say, based off of like the friends that I have around me, there are a lot of people that they can do that and not be emotionally attached. Me, I'm emotional. Like, I could never be able to just do that and then be like, okay, go about my day. You know, like as women, we can kind of act like we don't care. We can kind of act like, you know, he didn't just tell me that he don't want a relationship, but I don't want to hear that. You know,
Emotional, like
yeah, I'm just an emotional person. It's hard for me to like be able to just, oh, I'm just gonna go and hook up with this person for the night and then not really be feeling them, right? Like I think even prior to that, there's that whole, we've obviously been texting and talking and having communication and getting to know each other prior, unless like, I don't know, I do know there are people that just be outside at the bar and they be just seeing somebody, oh, he looks good, you coming home with me. But like, you know, it's again, that goes back to just morals, but also even in a college, especially in a college environment, that happens frequently.
Oh, it happens every day.
Right, it happens every day.
It's happening right now.
Every night. Like every night. And that, but I'm saying like certain environments like this, like that's where it's like, okay, like, you know, that's where it's like, yeah, you could do that, get it out your system here. But that also happens in real world too, you know, like, so I think for me as woman, it's just like, personally, I don't want to say I don't see anything wrong with it. You know what I mean? Like people just really have fun and they do what they do and they go about their business. But I do think women, we're just more emotionally attached. So when it comes to, you know, hooking up with somebody, that's why I say everyone's different. Woman's different. Like I have friends where they can and they don't get emotionally attached and they can go about their day and they don't care about the guy. And where it's like me, it's like, I feel like I'm just too emotional. Like I feel like I can't just hook up with somebody and then just be like, okay, like I'm good. Like they're just gonna act like, you know, I'm gonna see you around, I'm gonna say hi, and I'm keep pushing. Like it's just not a thing that, you know, I feel like I can personally do. I don't have the heart to do that. Like there are stronger people that can, but for me, it's like nah, like I'm good.
I mean, I don't think that's like a strength. I think like that's a weakness to kind of like go every day and get somebody new and talk with somebody new. I don't think that's a strength. Like that's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's.
I mean, what do respect to your
different.
friends that
it's
could
different.
do it?
You know what I mean? Like everyone stands on different morals and principles. I think too, it's like it's just how you appreciate your own body and like, you know, your energy and who you want to give that to. I think for me, especially because I'm an overthinker, I think just too deep into stuff. So I think for me, like I just can't give my energy and my, you know, that into that because it's like also too, there's just so much emotion, like I said, and just so much problems that come with that. Because then it's like you're dealing with, you don't know what they're doing, who they're sleeping with. Feel me? That's not your girl. That's not your, like, you can't even ask those questions because y'all already know what it is. Like, this is what it was. Catch you around. That's it. So like, you can't text them and be like, what you like. Who were you with? Or you just can't ask because it's that fine line of understanding. Like you already knew what it was. Like that's it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, especially as women, no, like who wants to be dealing with that? There are some people that they just be having fun, living their lives. It happens and that's it, you know? So it's just different based on, you know, I think it's just based on situation too. Like, you know, people go out, they have drinks, you have alcohol in your system, you know, it is what it is. Like, so everyone is different. Like everyone really perceives that in a whole different light. For me personally, I just am too emotional for that. So I just feel like, yeah, no.
Nah, but if you ask me, I would consider hookup culture completely foolish.
Because you always say it's like the most intimate form of
that's
love.
what I was about to say. I always tell my friends that sex is the most intimate form of love that
I agree. I do.
And think about it. Why would you have sex with someone you don't love?
Exactly.
I just don't understand that. And if you have sex with someone you don't love and you get her pregnant,
that's
an unwanted pregnancy with someone you don't love.
But then again, you gotta remember, like men are flawed, bro. We all sin, and it becomes desire. It becomes desire.
It becomes desire, but you also have to have the mindset
discipline,
that just
bro.
because you desire something doesn't mean you should go
bro.
after
It's
it.
discipline. It really comes.
It really comes down to
discipline,
though.
and that's what I'm saying.
Everything comes down to
and that's
discipline.
what I'm saying. Like I can be real and say like, have I gone out and seen somebody that looked good and be like, damn, absolutely. Like as women, like why? But it's discipline. It's like
you don't have to.
You don't have to act on that.
Yeah, exactly.
You do not have to act on that, and it's like that's why I say though, like that's what it comes down to. People act on it. It's just that sense of discipline. Like they didn't ignore that temptation, right? It all comes down to temptation. And, you know, we all fail to that though. Like people really, it's not that nobody can sit here and say temptation is not hard. That's like if you and let's like give an example, like to like branch off a little bit, like you've been with somebody for years, you and her break up, right? And she texts you and she wants to come and see you and now she wants to talk. Y'all not gonna be tempted to not go and see her. Like y'all not gonna be tempted to go and link up with her. And
I'm gonna stand on business. I'm not seeing it.
See, like that's what I'm saying though. But even when you stand on business, that doesn't mean that you're not tempted to.
I'm tempted for sure.
Right? Okay,
yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. Like, and some people really fall to that, and that's why I said the situation is different because everyone is disciplined. Like it comes down to discipline. Like, do I fall to this temptation or do I not? And that's why I said like everyone's temptation level is different. So that's why I said it's just, and that's why when it comes down to, you know, some women there, that's why it's like, it's so hard for me to speak on that. Cause like some women really just be with it. Like, yeah, I went out, yeah, I hooked up with him. He looked good. And they don't have no problem with that.
Just like that.
That's why it's like,
we know a few people like that.
And
we know a few people like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, you know, everyone has just some really different, some people just be like, nah, I'm with it. I don't really care. And, you know, I don't know. I really think it comes down to discipline and temptation, though, for sure.
No, 100%, bro. It's discipline. It's not like, I mean, if you see somebody and you really want to go for it, that just says a lot. And then the same night you go again. Like,
what you think, Haitian?
I mean, I just think like you really just do gotta stay disciplined, you know, show character.
Yeah.
Can't really just be hooking up with everybody.
And it also depends about where you're doing it to. Like if you're doing it at a bar, you know, like
bar is crazy.
Yeah, like that's not like alright. Like,
now you creative as bro. One time he said a movie theater, now he's saying a bar. You just
yeah, what the fuck? No, you know what I'm trying to say? It's like no. What I mean by that is like
he's trying to uncancel himself.
No, like going to the bar and then like getting them at the bar.
I didn't think that. I'm thinking in the bar.
Yeah. No. We're not getting too specific at the bar. I'm just saying like you're talking to someone. Yeah, exactly. Like you'll push somebody at the bar, like. You know, most likely he's gonna lead to one thing. I feel like
we're visual people though too. Like I think this is what I say too. You can't look at somebody and think they look good, and you don't know what they got going on, like nothing. And I think we're just visual people. Like
I'm a visual learner. I tell people that all the time.
She looks good, but you might know. Like you never know. That's what I'm saying. And that's why it's like you have to understand. Like you have to. That's where that discipline comes in. You got to go past the looks. Like.
Yeah,
I can't even lie to you. Like there's been people that I have seen and they look good, and then I've heard that they're the most shittiest person ever. Right?
That just brings them right
it's
back.
Like right. So it's just like it's looks they're always gonna be there, but like who are you as a person? Literally, that's all it is. So it's like that's why I said you gotta be careful. That's why but that's where my overthinking comes into play. Like I'd be like, he looks good, but nah, I'm good. Because you just never know. And honestly, I feel like the people, especially, I can't even say that. I guess it'll be, but like, even when I look at people, I feel like I could tell, like, oh yeah, like I can look at somebody and be like, yeah, he looks good. Oh, he must be trouble. Like that's where my mind automatically goes to. Like,
you're not gonna take that risk though? I thought you was a risk.
What? I'm like, if you look that good, you know, I'm just again back to the assumption. I'm like, oh yeah, he must got.
So you got a lot of options.
I'm cool.
So
it's like that's where our assumptions go, and I'd be like, nah, I'm cool.
So you don't shoot your first shot? You let somebody shoot?
Oh no! I shoot my shot. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You shoot?
I be shooting my shot.
You going in?
Yeah, but I'm saying, like. That's what I'm saying. I'm very intentional though. Like if I'm shooting my shot, it's because it's like I'm not shooting it for it to just be like this is the one time that like it's like okay, I see something in you. Like I'm very intentional when I do it. That it's because maybe I did my research too. Like I'm a journalist. Like I didn't just look. I'm like, okay.
Oh shit, she
Okay,
doing
she
research.
doing research.
You heard about this person.
Damn.
Hold on.
Like, you know, I make sure I really do my investigation first. And
We
be
start
like,
Give me some tools.
You
'Cause
be
I need
stalking
that.
the IG pages?
absolutely.
Yo,
I'm
yo,
looking.
she wanted to
and
be
just
FBI at
ensure.
first.
Hold
But I want to tell y'all, but I'm not gonna lie to you. There's been times where I failed doing my investigation, and you know, somebody spinned me or like play. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like even when you do your investigation, that shit could fail you sometimes. It has failed me, you know. So it's like it is what it is. Like, but yeah, for sure. That's why I said you just got to be careful. Like looks are absolutely deceiving for sure. That's why it's like somebody could look good. Okay, cool. They look good. Look the other way. So it's just, it depends, you know. Definitely take that shot if you feel like you want to take that shot, but you better be ready what comes with that.
That's what the Bible says. Don't look at the outward appearance.
Wait.
Hold on, seatbelt.
The Bible says in Proverbs, don't look at the outward appearance, which perishes, but look at the inward heart, which shines like the sun.
Exactly.
Noted.
That's four?
That's for.
That's four.
That's
That's four. He dropping on every podcast. That's fine.
I love it.
I'm telling you.
That's crazy. I mean, I think that just happens like in everything, like not even like relationship wise. I think friendship too. Like I have like this big error that I do every time. Like when I meet somebody new, like I instantly just don't fuck with them because it's just I feel like I don't know they're just gonna be stab me in the back or some shit like that. Like I've had so many experiences where like a lot of people haven't been real to me. So it's like whenever I meet somebody new, it's like, bro, like
you're just very cautious.
yeah, like I
You
don't
got trust issues?
Nah, it's not really trust
Definitely
issues.
trust
Bro.
issues.
She just died.
Definitely.
Diagnosis.
Hold on. Because the body we want to she's psychology minded now. Like, it's not trust issues. It's just like it's like before the trust issues.
No, that's what it is.
That's
Trust issues, bro.
I'm not.
Without trust, you can't do
Bro,
nothing.
just
Yeah.
say trust issues, bro. That's it, bro.
Yeah.
Simple.
It's okay, but you got trust issues, bro.
Yeah, it's cool.
Everyone got issues,
You
bro.
DTB?
Huh? Let's move
DTB.
on.
You don't even want to talk about it.
Not in
Not gonna be talking about it. We won't be here for the whole fucking hour, bro. Like it's tragic.
Nah, but Javi put me onto this question in relation to this. What is your perspective on love?
You might be here the whole afternoon again.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I feel like I think love is a beautiful thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like women when they experience heartbreak, women we can become really bitter and we can kind of be like, fuck love.
You can shut down, yeah.
You know, nah, I'm good. I think I've had my fair share of heartbreaks that I still really view love in a beautiful light, right? I think it's a space where you're able to be compatible with somebody and really just, share your strengths and weaknesses and be able to have somebody who supports you. So love is a beautiful thing. It's something that like when you really get to experience and you really find your person and your partner and really grow together and have someone there on your highs and lows, I think that is like the most beautiful thing personally. Like, I could never look at love and think that it's the worst thing that happens to people. You hear a lot too with men, like when they find their woman, you hear that all the time. Like I got to where I got to because of my woman. She supported me. She helped me. She was there on my lows. So I think, as women, we play a really big factor into our man's motivation and helping them, when they're down or helping them succeed because we are just, at heart, like we're very nurturing people. Like men are typically the providers, but, we're there to really just help for the most part. So I think love is a beautiful thing, when you get to experience it and you get to really find someone that aligns with who you are in your path and wants to be able to motivate you and really build with you to your success as just as much as women help build, their person's dreams. I think it's a beautiful thing.
I agree. I feel like it's very beautiful, but I feel like a lot of people, the reason why they're not able to find love is because they're blinded by lust. I feel like lust is like they have like glasses on, and the glasses are just lust, so that's all they see. But they need to take it off so they can actually see something better ahead of them.
Yeah. So I think I agree. Right. I feel like there has definitely been situations where I've been blinded by lust, right? And I didn't know, is this love or is this lust? And that's where when you really sit down and reevaluate the relationship and the situation and you're like, okay, like pros and cons. Like, am I really in love, or is this just lust? Like, is this just something that I'm stuck in and I'm looking at it in a view of like, this is love and it's really not. Like, you know, when you're in love, because love is supposed to be healthy, right? Obviously it goes through its ups and downs, but it's very straightforward to know like this situation is truly love. If it's lust, I think it's just, you know, as women, like I said, we're emotional, we get blinded, then we might be with somebody who's manipulative, right? Like, so it's just kind of something that, you know, we really fall victim to. That's where you have to be so aligned with yourself. You have to know yourself. You have to know your worth to be able to call out if it's lust. And I think women, like once you get to that point in your life where you're just spiritually so in tune with yourself, you're going to be able to tell that it's lust.
But I feel like love sometimes is like, it's tricky to understand because sometimes love is forced, but sometimes love is natural. And like knowing whether if it's natural or like forced, like you just gotta know. And you're just gonna like, you're gonna be in a relationship that you don't want to be in. It's gonna be hard to get out because like now you've like fabricated like this love.
I agree. I think walking away from a relationship that you've been in for a long period of time, or, you know, built a really strong bond, I think it is extremely hard to walk away from. But that's when that's why I said it comes down to like the self-worth and really understanding the toxicity of the relationship. Like, do I want to be at peace and happy by walking away from the situation and dealing with that heartbreak and dealing with dealing with that pain, or do I want to continue to be stressed and, you know, be good one day, bad the next day? Like, it is always going to be hard to walk away from something that, you know, you don't want to walk away from. But there's a lot of things in life that we have to let go, and it's never easy to do that.
I got actually, I don't know. I got nothing to say.
Javi, speechless?
He's been speechless since the trust issues thing.
Javi, speechless.
Because we had some listeners come up to me a few days ago, tell me like I gotta change my perspective in like viewing woman and viewing love, because not everybody's the same and shit like that. So I don't know. I don't want to comment on that.
One thing I could tell you though is just like advice. I'm not saying I'm a ladies man, none of that. I'm just saying,
bro, listen to him, bro.
This is the ladies man.
not ladies man, they lying.
Yo, hit him up.
But look, I feel like one girl is not gonna represent every other girl, so I feel like you should let that go.
Okay, bro.
Right? And then you're a decent dude. You're chilling. You got so much ahead of you. You have a purpose in life. So I feel like, bro, if you let all of that go, you're gonna get a good girl.
Okay, bro. Tim, bro.
Okay,
you
yeah,
big,
got you
bro.
filling up your t-shirt, like.
Bro. Okay. Yo, what's something?
It's because you've been quiet, but this isn't you.
No. I'm just listening, you know, like it's a different perspective, you know. I'm just listening to see the different perspective, you know, and shit like that. I mean, I don't want to comment nothing because, you know, like, it's not because, like, the listener, like, the person who told me this, like, I'll be actually thinking about it, and you're right, you know.
What they said?
Well, exactly what he just said.
Or what do you think about love, personally?
Bro, oh my God.
Y'all want to know what I think about love?
All right, go ahead.
So, I don't know. I'm very like logical, and like my answer is like ones and zeros kind of sometimes. But I really think like if you really love somebody and you really say you love them, like you're willing to like die for them. And everybody can say, "Oh, I'll take a bullet for them. I'll do this." But I'm talking about like if you really love somebody, like they could be a friend, and you could view them as like a brother and sister. If you say if like you really love somebody, I feel like, bro, you're willing to do anything for their happiness too as well. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of like put yourself aside just because, you know, you have that much love towards like that person. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's like, it's very deep. And I feel like one thing that I do hate about our generation is that people just be like, yo, I love you. Look, bro, even in our lingo, I love you, my heart. Like, bro, it's just like,
I feel like they're just throwing that word around.
They just
I don't like
throw
that
it
people
around,
just throw
yeah.
the word around. What do you guys think? You guys think you guys can love like two girls at one time? Like you guys ever?
Yes, y'all can.
Nah.
no, you can love them for different reasons.
I feel you You genuinely don't think
You like
two people
what
at
you
one
love?
time?
No,
Bro, I'm telling you that
swear to
that can happen, bro.
Yeah.
You're naturally gonna compare them though. You're gonna love one more than the other though.
You are, but you love them both.
Yeah, that's true.
And then
That was the question. You love one more than the other.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to like clarify for him in case.
Wait, what you mean? Like my mother. And my
No,
No, you can literally love two girls.
Say you find
Not
two girls
enough.
on
Nah,
campus.
hell
You know you
nah.
love
Yes,
it.
you can, bro.
Yes, you can. Yo,
Alright, so you
yo,
have
shit.
What did you say?
I said actually.
Yo, shut up, bro.
Yeah, he's canceled. He's so canceled.
No. Well, first of all, I never love them. That's one thing. First of all, yo, that's fucking crazy.
Boy, don't let me.
Random names.
Don't let me.
Random names.
I guess.
Those are
Man.
actually real people.
Nah, they're not real
I'm
people.
about to say.
Nah, we're trying like just to move on stuff. Nah, that's fucking crazy.
Just bleep his shit. Just
Nah, you cannot love two people at the same time.
You really don't think that?
Why do you really think that?
I promise y'all can.
Bro, cause
I swear y'all can.
I mean, I guess y'all is not me then.
Alright, but let me hear.
I don't know.
So let's hear
I just think men in general. I just think it's possible to really. I think it's possible to really meet multiple women and really be able to like fall in love with both of them.
Nah. I mean, look,
I think so. Because you got to think about it, right? I think when it comes down to even when like when men cheat, you also do hear that they
still love.
They still love who they're cheating on, right? Like that's number one. But it's like, what about the people that end up leaving their wife for or the girl that they're with for the person that they did cheat on with?
That's
you know
weak-minded
what I mean?
men, though. That's weak-minded men, though. Like,
but the question is, can that person love both of them?
No, I guess that person could, but
That's what I'm saying.
like,
Generally,
What about
it's
Javi?
Bro,
possible.
it's
It's
possible, bro.
just generally possible.
You just gotta wait
We're
till you
not-
experience that. That's
We're
it.
not talking about you
okay, nah,
individually.
that's
We're just talking about men in
No,
general.
yeah.
Is it possible? It obviously is possible. It's happened in real life. Like it's happened.
I mean, I guess so. But I don't.
Some ways it happens too is like you date someone like and that becomes your ex and you start dating someone else and you start falling in love
That's what I'm
and
saying.
then like out of nowhere your ex pops up again and it's like yo,
That
you love your
re-
ex.
I'm not gonna lie, y'all watch Power.
Yeah,
That's
just like that.
example.
Literally.
Like when he ran into Angela, like
That-
he said,
I hate Angela.
She
ruined everything. She ruined everything, bro.
Like that's my girl. That's what
She
I'm
made
saying,
Tariq, bro.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. Throw me Tasha felt that way, but it was what it was. Like
Tasha understood. She knew what
she stood on business. I'm not gonna lie, but that don't mean that Angela didn't have his heart. She did. That's what I'm saying. Like that's a prime example. Like that's no movie shit. That's real life.
I look up to Ghost.
That's what I'm saying. Like that stuff, real life happens.
And we could flip the question onto women. Do you think women can love two men at the same time?
Yes. But that's just because
I don't think so. I don't agree.
I
don't
no,
agree
I'm not gonna lie because you have to understand we're how we are emotional.
Well,
I'm not gonna say a lot. Like it's just what it is. Like you can really. That's why when men say women can cheat, we never just cheat just to cheat. We obviously thought prior that
Nah, sometimes
Somebody
because
with an attachment.
within an
Nah,
intent.
bro.
Nah.
We all do respect, bro. Like,
Does that
I
make
don't know.
sense?
I can't see a woman.
No, I
loving
can't
someone.
see a woman doing that because like
Nah,
sometimes
It's because I'm not gonna lie. It's because how do I put it? Like the I'm trying to think of the word because I think we feel you as men, right? Where women just kind of have to love one person. Like you see that a lot. Like we just assume that.
So
that's
like our
what it
brain
is.
is kind of geared towards that way.
I don't know. I just think it's like it happens. Like I'm saying, like in generally it happens. Like there has to be women who definitely have loved two men, or like that's when it comes down to like women choose. They pick and choose.
Okay, maybe the only case is like, let's say you have an ex, and then like right after your ex, maybe like a month later, yeah, you move on. And
That's what I'm saying. You still love that other person.
I feel like, all right, I'm gonna make an exception. I think only in that scenario, but I don't think you could be like, let's say like in a relationship where like married to this guy.
Oh, and
then,
love somebody else? Oh,
yeah,
no.
I don't think.
No, if we're
I
talking
mean, in
about
terms
like
of
that,
like leading up to marriage, like maybe that sometimes like could break off the
Yeah.
marriage.
If you're really deep and you left the past with the past,
oh no,
I
so
don't
you're
think you
asking
could.
if you're in a relationship
Yeah.
and you also love another person while
Yeah.
you're with your person.
I feel like as a woman, I
I
don't think they can do that.
I personally can say I don't think so.
Yeah, I
Unless
don't
you meant
think
in general of the situation, like if you're in the process of moving on, or you're
yeah,
still
in
gonna
that process,
love
yeah,
that
you
person,
can,
and
yeah.
then you might grow to love the next person you
Yeah,
with. That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. That's possible. That's just the nature of a situation. The same thing with men. Like you guys can love the woman that you were with before, but it's time to move on, and then you grew to love the next woman.
All right.
But I also feel like sometimes like women like they clock out of like a relationship sooner than
Absolutely.
like guys.
For sure, a woman could clock out 2 months before she wanted that y'all ended, and you wouldn't even know.
Yeah. And you would be able to notice.
It's true though. Like, no, you hear it all the time. Like, we clock out mentally before we leave physically.
I mean, you also start seeing the signs.
You start seeing it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you're paying attention, but I'm saying, like, women, it's hard for women to walk away though, for the most part. Like, it just depends. Like, it depends how strong you are. Like, there are women who definitely walk away, but yeah, I can say that we definitely mentally check out before we physically leave.
I heard something saying like, I seen it was like interesting. They said like men actually deal with heartbreaks a little worse like than women.
Absolutely, yeah, I think that's true.
100%.
No, because it's like
because men do not show emotion. So it's like when you guys do, and when you really love somebody, and that's the same thing. Like when you bring a girl home to your mom, like that's a big deal.
Like, marry this girl.
Yeah, like
I never show no good
you
to
know
my
what
mom.
I mean? Like that's just something that men stand on, but it's because you guys were shown to not be emotional people. Like, it's not good to show emotion. It's not good to cry. You're a man. Like when, I don't see that perspective. Yeah, I don't see that perspective. I don't see men as weak because they're showing emotion or because they're crying or because they're upset. Like that's just what it is, but that's just how society grew up men to be. Like you can't show that. You can't show your woman how much you love them. You can't show, it's not cool to go get flowers or, like that's just, I don't know. It's just, I don't even know how to explain like that. The whole society of that is just and perception of how men are supposed to be, I think just goes against like how you guys, that it's okay for you guys to do that, so I agree with you 100%.
That's a valid point.
And I also have one question that's kind of similar to this, but we're gonna tangent off a bit. What is it that you look for in a guy? Like certain qualities that you see and you're like yes.
I think their drive to what they want to achieve, and really how they treat their mom too. I think that's the biggest thing. I really see like how are you family oriented, how you treat your family, how are you as a person. I think the biggest thing too is like, are you tied into your community, are you giving back, are you a leader. I think I look for really traits of somebody who is just a kind-hearted person, because I think as for me, I can kind of look at someone and kind of just tell, I guess, a little bit like who they are, just based off of like the first interaction. But that's why I said there's been times where I failed to kind of like, damn, like I thought you were this person, or you showed me that you were this person at first, and that's not really who you were. So I would definitely say their drive, a kind person, and how they treat their mom. I think those are the biggest things. Like if you have a really good relationship with your mom, and I see how you treat your family, and really just how you carry a community on your back, and really how you look for people behind you. I think I'm able to be like, okay, cool, like. But that's also because that just aligns with who I am as a person. Like that aligns with a lot of stuff that I do. So I'm able to really catch that in another person.
That's a valid point. I never hear no one say like directly how like a man like like treats or like the relationship like with their mother. But I think that's a very valid point. I think
that's a huge thing, but it's also like that's why you have to go back to the people that also may not have that experience that, or maybe they don't have a good relationship with their mom. But then it's like people don't psychologically look into that. That is like they don't have a good relationship with their mom, so they might not really be able to treat the woman that they're with a certain way because they didn't experience that, or they're like uneducated in that area. But that doesn't mean they can't grow to be a good man. That doesn't mean they can't grow to treat a woman a certain way because they don't have their mom in their life or they don't have a good relationship in their life. It's like, as a woman though, going into the relationship, these are questions that you should ask and questions that you should be sitting down and having a conversation about, because then it's like when certain situations and arguments and things arise or how they act, then you'll be able to put the puzzle pieces into the situation, understand like, okay, well, you're probably acting this way because of this, right? Like I think picking apart somebody's childhood and what they've went through plays a big part into how they treat you as a woman, because it's like, you are sitting down and dissecting, what they went through. So I think, those are conversations a lot of women don't have, or they don't go into a relationship asking these questions, or like, being very observant of that. So that's why everyone just be so confused as to why is this person acting like this, or why is this person lashing out this way. Like if you had the time to really sit down and get to know your person, know who you're dealing with, and know, their history, a lot of stuff would make so much sense.
That's wonderful.
Pete, you're detail oriented, very observant. I like to sound very detail oriented. This guy right here, he's OD observant. Like,
Yeah.
That's good though. It's good to be like that, but I think that's also a downfall, right? Being over observant and
'cause
being
you can-
too
yeah.
detailed.
you
It's
can
kind of like
pick
then it's
one-
I
like,
overthink too. That's
nah,
why.
I'm cool. Like, you might see something that just throws you off completely. So that's why there's a pros and cons to that. I feel like that is something that is a weakness of mine. I'm too much of an overthinker. I'm too, thinking too much into the situation. I don't let it just flow, where I'm not present, right? I'm just kind of like, I go into it and I'm already just thinking, like, instead of just letting the situation just be, figuring it out as you go. So
That's why balance is very important.
yeah.
All right.
That pretty sums it up. You want to take it?
So our very last question.
Oh yeah.
To just wrap this all up, what is your truth?
My truth is definitely, for sure, making sure that I'm paying it forward. I think for me, it's like I'm really big on giving back, right? Anything from my knowledge to anything that I've, been able to be a part of, or the resources that were given to me. I'm so big in really making sure that anyone that comes behind me, that they have a resource, a mentor, they have answers to any questions that they have, right? Because it's like, even though I don't have a role model, right, and I didn't have somebody that I looked up to, that I wasn't inspired, that doesn't mean I didn't have people around me that motivated me or that poured into me and, allowed me to get to where I'm at. So I think a perfect example of that too is just like, I just sat on a panel for the new master students that are coming in, and one of the master students last year when I was coming in, she gave me my media law book for free. She was like, hey, I'm not using this. Here you go, right? I want you to have it. She wrote I found a note in it during the beginning of the semester. She wrote a nice little note in there, and I did the same thing. I got the book, I wrote a note in it, and I was at the panel, and I was like, I want you guys to think from a number from 1 to 9, whatever. And I did the same thing, right? And my call to action to her was, I want you, when you're done, to do the same thing, right? Because it's like, you have to understand, like, there's so many more people coming behind you, and you have to look, just as much as you want to be successful and you're looking out for yourself, be that person that that I wish I wanted. I think that's what it is for me. Like, I want to be that person that I wish I had. So I always try to make sure that I'm going to pay it forward, that I'm going to be a part of the community, any community that helped me grow, right? Because it's like, Syracuse was a stepping stone for me, and I've only been here for 1 year, so it's hard for me to really call this place my home. But it's like, that isn't going to make me feel like this wasn't a part of my journey. Like, this was a really big part of my journey. So I'm always going to make sure to pay it forward here, my undergrad, any back at home. So I think for me is like really just making sure that people know that they're always going to have a resource in me, and that, I'm going to always be attached to any community I was a part of.
Valid truth.
What type of impact you love to give back though? Like you said something along those lines that you wanna pass over everything that you have to the next generation. What's something like you love to be remembered as?
I think something how I would really love to be remembered as is, I would definitely say my work ethic, and just like how hard I work. I want people to remember that, every opportunity and everything that I've got has been because I've worked hard for it. Like, it wasn't no handouts. It wasn't like I didn't go through any trials and tribulations to get it. So I think for me, it's something, I just want people to remember that I worked hard for everything that I have and everything that I will continue to receive. And that, as long as you stay your course and really just be you and be true to yourself, you're going to be successful in anything that you do.
Is there like any links or anything you want to share to the people that listening to you, to follow you, to continue to
any shout outs?
Yeah, any shout outs for yourself?
So yeah, make sure y'all tap into my Instagram at Jalyss Lyann. It'll be right there for you to go and follow. And yeah, so I think the biggest thing that I want you guys to really just take from this is really just be consistent, stay hungry, be you. Let the impossible be possible, and really just, like I said, stay the course. And I promise that, your success, your dreams, all of that will come true. And, this was the Uncanceled podcast.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you for being the second guest and the first female. Hopefully, not the last one. And I appreciate the fact that you put your special announcement here too, which is gonna be pretty fun to see the feedback that people get. That people will give. And yeah, thank you so much. And just clap it up for Jalyss. Let's go.
Thank you for being here.